Hello everyone and welcome to the Redmen TV. I'm Steve, joined by John Reid and by Sam Walker. This is the Uncensored match build-up ahead of the big one. Arsenal versus Liverpool, 4:30 on Sunday at the Emirates. Yeah, we're going to have a big chat about the Gunners, what they've been going through with their gang of hooligan players who keep getting kicked off the pitch. We're going to have a chat about the Reds, injury news, team updates, and what we might do as well, what Arne Slot might do in what is probably the toughest test he's had so far. Before we do, thank you very much to today's match sponsor, Anfield Fireworks, sponsoring our build-up show again. If you go to AnfieldFireworks.com, there we go, it's up on the screen for those watching right now. Get any of these amazing fireworks. Use the promo code LFC10 when you do, and you'll get 10% off. You can order them to get delivered to your house. You can pick them up from the shop on Breck Road as well. In fact, if you just go to the store in Anfield and mention the code that we've sent you, they'll also give you that 10% discount. Bonfire night's a couple of weeks away, if that, less than 2 weeks away. So get yourselves all stocked up. And yeah, thank you so much. You will need them. Don't forget, because I know what the city of Liverpool is like. Everyone is so last minute for everything in this city. If you are last minute, Anfield Fireworks will have you covered. They'll be open right up until bonfire night and beyond as well. So yeah, get yourselves involved down there and save yourself some dough, more importantly. And I've seen them, by the way. Cal sent some clips over of the fireworks. They are fantastic. So if that's your thing and you're into it, I'm sure you will be, then yeah, Redmen, we thank you very much to Anfield Fireworks. LFC10 is the code. There's a link in the description if you're watching this YouTube. There's a link in the description if you're listening to it as a podcast as well. We'll bring it up at the end of the show to remind you all, again, very quickly before we get into the game. Thank you everyone who attended virtually or in person our charity live stream on Wednesday for Zoe's Place. We think currently we're going to have raised around £40,000 for Zoe's Place. When we add on the gift aid, there's a couple of personal donations to be made and all that kind of stuff. The t-shirt sales that we've been doing as well. So we think it's about £40,000 so far. If you haven't checked it out, the stream is available on the YouTube channel in full. It's 12 hours long. We will be putting some clips out throughout the weekend as well, the best parts, interviews with the likes of Steven Gerrard, Jamie Carragher, Kenny Dalglish, who came into studio, which was mental. The Just Giving page is still open as well. It's justgiving.com/page/the Redmen TV. If you donate any money whatsoever between now and the end of the month, we are going to be drawing. We've got 4 amazing prizes to give away. We've got a pair of match-worn boots from Jordan Henderson. We've got a pair of signed goalkeeper gloves from Bruce Grobbelaar. We've got an amazing signed John Barnes print and an amazing, wonderful print signed by Liverpool legends Roger Hunt and Ian St. John. If you donate any money whatsoever on the Just Giving page, you'll be in the draw to win those. Anyone who makes a donation over £100, you'll be drawn as well to win a limited edition blackout chair from the 1920 season signed by Jurgen Klopp. That was donated to us by former Liverpool CEO Peter Moore. All the staff got one when Liverpool won the league as a thank you for all the hard work during the COVID season and stuff. It means a lot to Peter, but he's donated it to us kindly. So yeah, we've got loads of draws. So yeah, that is still open. In fact, Adam, will you remember to put a link in the description, please, mate? There'll be a link in the description below if you want to get yourselves involved for supporting what is a wonderful cause. Right then, that's all the admin out the way.
Important though, very important.
It needed to be said, yeah.
More so this week than ever.
Absolutely, it needed to be said. Because there's always place people are doing fantastic work. There's loads going on. There's absolutely loads going on around the city. I know the Anfield Rap lads are doing a live show. Jamie Carragher, get yourselves involved in that. Anything you can do to raise money for Zoe's Place, they still need our help. The fundraising's been good, but it's nowhere near enough yet. Right then, let's talk about the game. Sam, I'll start with you first. Arsenal, 3rd in the table. They've dropped points in 3 Premier League games this season. All 3 of them, like I mentioned before. They've had man sent off. So what's been your assessment of Arsenal? Because when a team goes down to 10, it changes your mind. When they've been to 11, they've been pretty good. They've had a couple of late winners. They've had to go to the well a little bit already. What have you made of the Gunners so far?
I thought the summer was a bit of a swing for them in that they suffered similar fate to we did, where they had a fantastic season. Not quite 97 points, but they got, 89 or 88 points and finished 2nd. And for me, what the big difference between all this comparison to Liverpool and the charge against City was they didn't win nothing last season, and they had a lot of things go their way. And I think what we're seeing this season with Arsenal is when things don't all necessarily fold into place for you nicely, you have to deal with a bit of not controversy as such, although they would say controversy. To have to overcome some challenges, and I think they've done well. They're obviously still a top side. There's no disrespect in what Arteta's done and what those players are over there, but I think we're seeing them sort of wobble a little bit under pressure. And I've heard you guys say this quite a lot, that the emotions coming out too soon, and was it the words you've used, the champions elect? I don't know if it was you or Chris or Paul who said it, but I agree with that. It's like, that's the pressure that's been put on them by Neville and Carragher, is the champions elect, the
By
champions elect.
themselves, so it's
And
now
by
or
themselves,
never,
and their
innit?
fans, yeah, it is, absolutely. And I think what's happened is they've wilted a bit. Stupid for Rice against Brighton, but you know, the rules are the rules. Same with Trossard against City, rules are the rules. They were very lucky for Calafiori not to be sent off at 2-2 against Leicester, so we could be sat here with 4 games really if it was right. And then obviously they lost Saliba in a totally different way, but it happens last week and they lost. So I think they've mounted pressure on themselves, and it's boiling point. It really is. It's a big game for them Sunday.
The question's already been asked, and so I'm gonna put it on your toes, John, because why not? I don't have to answer it. Chris asked Robbie this the other day from Arsenal Fan TV again during the live stream. He's like, if Arsenal lose this game, just for clarity, they will be 7 points behind Liverpool already. Because as it stands, they are 4 points behind the Reds. If they lose and Liverpool win, and there's a 7 point gap, depends on what City like. Is 7 points too big already? You know, after 9 games, like. And I think there's Arsenal fans asking the same question: is that could be them done in the title race, or is that way too early for that?
I think it's one of them things where I think, like, I'll throw the caveat in early of saying you can never say never, but given sort of the recent history in the league, I think you'd have to say yeah. You know what I mean? Sam's right when he says this is almost like a make or break game for them, which is mad because it could, if they did win, say, it could very easily swing back the other way for them, where all of a sudden they're sort of back in the mix. But there's nothing. I think it's not just a case of sort of momentum, it's also a case of when you look at the other 2 contenders. City have been there and done it. You know, every season we look at them and sort of go, oh, De Bruyne's out for 6 months, it's going to fall to bits. Or I think Rodri's a bit more key, but they seem to be coping with that at the minute. It's how they cope with it over like however long he's out for. But if you look at us, you know, we're in pretty good nick. You know, we're only really missing sort of 2 or 3 lads. Obviously the goalie's a big miss, but Keller has stepped up. We can cope, I think, at the minute with what we've got. I think when you look at them, it's the players who they are missing who are the key lads. I mean, for me, even though I think someone like Saliba and Calafiori are 2 big misses in the sense of what they've been good at defensively, I think the biggest miss really for them has been Odegaard, because they've become a team that grinds wins out, I think, and like all this dark arts stuff that they've been talking up online in terms of it being focused on, I think it's highlighted more because they haven't been able to do the other stuff at the other end in terms of going up and, you know, scoring 2 or 3, which is what they were doing sort of 2 or 3 seasons ago, was outscoring teams but giving cheap goals away. So it could well be, and you know, it doesn't take much. I think Sam at the start mentioned, you know, in terms of like last season they didn't win anything. I think that's the problem Arteta's got to face, if you like, is that he's not really done anything yet beyond build a really good team, and that's to take nothing away from him. I'm in no way trying to talk, if you're an Arsenal fan for some reason watching this, I'm in no way trying to talk Arsenal down. They are a really good team, but he's not got that cachet, if you like, behind him to sort of go, I can tank being third 2 or 3 seasons on the run, you know, because he's not delivered a big trophy for them yet. I don't know, he's done the FA Cup.
At the moment, they're Pochettino Spurs, aren't they?
Yeah.
Very good, not quite done. I know he won the FA Cup, but that was a totally different set. This team is Pochettino Spurs. They've got to prove that they're better than that. I think they are, but they've got to prove that, haven't they?
I suppose, going on to Arsenal, you mentioned there, we know for a fact that there's no Salah, but it looks like no Odegaard as well.
There's no Odegaard.
He's out for a while. As it stands today, and Mikel Arteta hasn't done his press conference, it's due to be in about an hour, so hopefully not too much changes. But they're training as it stands, Sam. No Bukayo Saka, no Ricardo Calafiori, no Yuri and Timber. They haven't trained. It looks like Ben White is training, so he might be available.
Yeah.
So in terms of the injury list as well for Arsenal, it might not be, again, we'll find out, it might not be the worst time. No Saka, no Saliba, no Odegaard, probably their 3 best players.
Absolutely.
And all 3 of them are missing it. That's huge for Arsenal and maybe huge for Liverpool.
Oh, absolutely. It's also about, look, you can have good players who play. We see it in cup games all the time, and you can see you have the odd performance with it, but it's what those players mean for the momentum and the confidence of your team. When Liverpool look up and see Mo Salah, no matter what form Mo Salah's in, they know Mo's on the pitch, Mo can do something. Same with Verge, Trent, there's Alisson, there's other players in there as well now who've grown into them roles. They're 3 of those players. Saliba is the leader at the back. They're comparing him to Van Dijk. They're comparing him to the great defenders in terms of his trajectory. Odegaard for me is the best number 10 in the league now over De Bruyne. De Bruyne is an unbelievable player, but he's 33, 34. You can see his hammies are going, but he's still great. But I think Odegaard's that guy now, and he's out. He's not going to play. And he's the cap. Oh, forgot about that. Yeah, absolutely. And Saka's their Salah, isn't he? He's the star boy, as they call him. I think that's massive for them. And the thing is with Saka is if they rush him back for this game, the next 4 games are away against, I think it's Preston, Newcastle, Inter Milan and Chelsea. It's all good getting him back for the Liverpool game, but if he does his hamstring and misses the next 4 to 5, or he has to miss another couple of weeks, it's not worth it. So interested to see how Arteta, whether he sees this as a cup final or whether he sees it as, do you know what, it is what it is.
Well, if he's not training today, listen, we're recording this on Friday 12:30.
He's definitely not there now.
He's not training right now.
Okay.
At best, John, he gets 1 session maybe before. Like, that is a big risk for him. Again, he might just be fine. It might just be caution. We don't know, but that's got to give Liverpool a little bit of a boost. Paul and Chris, obviously my 2 bosses, they always see these 2 things different ways. Paul's very like romanticised. He's like, I want to play the best. I want to beat the best. I want to go toe to toe. Bring Real Madrid on. Give us. And Chris always like, give us fucking Sparta Prague,
yes.
and like. For me, I was like, you want them all out. You don't want anyone ever injured, but you don't want to play. I 3 points against Arsenal is 3 points. Whether you beat Arsenal's first team, a bit of a change team, it doesn't matter. It could be hugely significant this for Liverpool because we know 2 of their best players, probably 3 of them, are all not going to be on the pitch.
It could be, and you've got to obviously throw the Emirates factor into it as well. We were just looking at sort of like the recent results before we started, and like we haven't had a great time at their place in the last few years, and it's a big thing, I think, as well, just in terms of for the manager. I mean, I think, not to sort of play devil's advocate and sort of sit between Paul and Chris, but for me, it's like, I want the manager to play Arsenal because it's a big scalp if we win.
Yeah.
But I'm not really asked if they were missing half the first team. You can only play what's in front of you. Yeah. So it's a bit like, I want us to go there and play and win, and then if we get to walk away and go, oh great, we're 11 from 12 in the league or whatever, that's great. And it's such the sort of thing. Sam sort of alluded to it before with Arteta, but like the sort of the Champions Elect thing, they've sort of spoke Arsenal up a lot in the media over the last 12 months, and that'll be sort of slightly the undoing of them if they don't win, kind of thing, and that they'll start getting questions asked about them. But they've also had the opposite with us, where they've been, we haven't really played anybody yet, and we've had a lot of debates been going on for the last few weeks. But I want us to play the big teams, and at the minute, there's a reason we're top of the league. Like City aren't in the best form, I think, playing wise. They are winning games. Arsenal are almost the inverse of that. They've lost a couple, they've dropped points, but they've looked all right in matches. So I want us to go there and play whoever's there, and then give them stuff to worry about, because I think the other thing with the injuries is that it limits Arteta's options in terms of making changes, and he's relying on people like Martinelli. Obviously they've sold Nketiah to Palace. He hasn't got a lot of ways of switching it up really in terms of midfields, so it also might mean that they're slightly more open in terms of like just trying to go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how they plan. Like young Lewis Skelly, who looks like a very promising player. He came on the other day. They've got the down to, not bare bones, but I don't think that's fair to say.
It's like 11, isn't it? It's like a bare 11.
Yeah, the bench probably will be impacted.
They've got no Tommy Asu as well, I believe.
Well, that's my question about their defence, Sam, is that definitely no Saliba. Timber isn't training today. He looks like he's out. Ben White probably will make it. There's doubt about him, but it looks like he's going to be fine. That Saliba-Gabriel partnership for them has been the bedrock of everything they've done. They're both fantastic. They're both unbelievable players. Without both of them, it might mean Ben White has to go and play centre-half, potentially. That's an option. Partey might end up at full-back, at right-back. You might have Zinchenko at left-back. Mo Salah loves playing against Zinchenko. He's done him time and time again. Like, there are certain battles there that Liverpool will be favouring now because, like, Arsenal without plenty of their back four.
Oh, and it's the disjointedness across the pitch as well that leads. I mean, ideally, if I'm Arteta, I'm starting in midfield. My team starts with Partey, Jorginho, Rice, and then it builds outwards from that. Because if we can clog up the midfield and make it as hard for Liverpool as possible, then we'll deal with the rest after that. But like you say, if he starts pulling Partey into centre back, playing that, or what's the lad they've just signed, Marino and all that, you just start creating holes in places that wasn't there, last week. So yeah, what would their back four likely be then? Probably let's go with Ben White, Kivior and Gabriel, and then Zinchenko at the back.
Potentially, yeah.
And if you look at as good as Gabriel is, he's the weaker of the two. He's the one where if people ever accuse Gomez and Matip over the years of being Van Dijk's sidekick, he's the sidekick. He's not the one who's dragging him. He scores the odd goal and stuff, but he's very Martin Scale at the moment, isn't he? In terms of when he's on form, unbelievable attack and good in the air, but he's prone to a mistake and a yellow card in the game, isn't he? So, I mean, can you imagine a world if he gets booked in the first 10 minutes of the game and they've got all these injuries and suspensions and he's booked? I think that's what we need to be looking at as a team. Really is. I think if those injuries remain as they are, I think it's an unbelievably tough task for Arsenal. And I think for us, because we're 4 points ahead of them, and because the worst case, I think I'm right in saying the worst case scenario for us this weekend is we end up second. I'm thinking right in saying, like, imagine you came away from the Emirates and worst case scenario you lost the game and you're still second and within shooting distance of City. Like, you're going into the game with the best placed situation around you, really, to go there free and play confidently against that side. And I'm really intrigued to see how Arteta G's them up.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see how they pan out, but their team's going to be interesting. What they have got, obviously, we don't want to downplay them too much. They've still got fantastic players. I'm just looking at the team played Shakhtar the other day. In terms of attack, you're probably looking at Trossard, Havertz, Martinelli, Jesus. We'll find out what he does with all of them. There's still goals in that team. Kai Havertz has been scoring plenty of goals, especially at the Emirates. I think that was his first game for, like, he could have broke the record. I think everyone wants him to take that penalty the other day that Trossard missed to get that record. Like, everyone's for a while spoken about, John, of like, Arsenal need the centre forward. Kai Havertz has actually been doing a very good job at it. You know, he's scoring goals, he gets involved, he makes a nuisance of himself. He's always done that, but more so this season, he's starting to put the ball in the back of the net as well. He's probably their biggest goal threat, you would think.
Yeah, he's almost like evolved into like sort of the Firmino role, hasn't he? But sort of Firmino sort of 2016 to 19 when he was getting sort of like double figures on the regular, if you like, and it wasn't just like people were talking up his link-up play kind of thing. Like, he's very much a threat and can finish moves, but also he's happy to sort of drop deep and sort of slog it out and like set either Saka up or Martinelli or whoever's playing on the wing. I'm right in thinking as well, Sterling's fifth.
Yep.
So he's obviously he might be an option as well in terms of like playing up front, but you know they can definitely still hurt us. And I think, as you say, like, it's not as if like Havertz has been in bad form or whatever, and you're sort of dropping him in cold. You know, he's been doing really well for them.
He's been fantastic. He's been a revelation. 2 more points on Arsenal then. They've always, in this game, they've tried to get Martinelli isolated against Alexander-Arnold. Yeah. That's been their thing all the time. Now, Trent's playing things a little bit differently this year. He's having more success, I'd say, against one-on-one. You know, he's come up against some good wingers. He kept Rafa Leao pretty quiet over in Milan. He had a decent game the other day against Jadon Sancho, who's been on fire. Yeah. He's done, you know, the Rashford United-y thing, what he always caused them bother, didn't really cause many bother this year. I wonder if the fact that Trent is doing his role slightly different maybe gives him a bit more of not a chance against Martinelli, but probably puts the odds, tips it back in his favour a little bit, because that has definitely been something Arsenal have tried and have exploited. Martinelli's record against us has been pretty special.
Yeah, at their place especially as well. Yeah. Obviously scored a couple of goals, hasn't he? You are right though, the way we play games of football now is different, and you know, we're trying to obviously, let's just slow it down, but just sort of put a dent in the atmosphere when we play away and stuff like that. I did think, although Trent did well against Sancho was half as quick as Martinelli, I did think he was exposed a little bit. I think that's just down to the nature of where Mo Salah is now. He's not the marauding up and down winger. He will leave Trent at times, and so there probably will be times in this game where Martinelli does pick up the ball in positions where he can get at Trent. I think what Szoboszlai does really well, and Gravenberch and McAllister Jones, whoever it is they do help and cover a lot more. Our midfield's a lot more dynamic than it used to be, and Konate's maybe a little bit deeper than he was. So I think what we've got is the ability to cover Trent. If Trent does get skinned, which I expect to happen a couple of times in the game because it's normal against Martinelli, but the ability to cover it. What I do think, if we can stick it out with and slow the game down, is that Martinelli tends to fade in games later on and get subbed off.
That's why they bring Trossard on though, and he's like...
but he's not. But I'd be surprised if he starts. So that maybe
Trossard's been good though as well.
Sorry, I'd be surprised if he doesn't start. Trossard, Martinelli and Havertz, I'd be surprised. Okay. That's not the three, and Sterling comes on, but it's where he comes on. Yeah, so anyway, I do think we will see some battles between those two, but Trent seems well more up for it. He's in better form than Martinelli is, and I'm far more confident going into this match from Trent defensively and dealing with that space than I have been before.
Yeah, Martinelli 5 goals in 10 games against us. Let's hope it's 5 and 11.
Yeah,
at the end of this one. The final thing on Arsenal, John. Their set pieces, like that's what they're brilliant. They're the best set piece team in the league, probably in Europe. They're amazing, and they've got that routine. Everyone knows what's coming. Everyone's at the back post. They dink it up, they attack it, they block the goalie. They get themselves involved, or someone will be in front of Keith Kelleher the whole time. Like Liverpool, to be fair, I've looked all right off set plays, I'd say, for the most part. They've had not as many issues. Van Dijk and Konate have been, you know, aerial duels have been fantastic, but it is a battle goalkeeper still. You know, Kelleher, it is a bit different. That's a massive threat still for Liverpool. Not only defending them, but actually don't give them away. You don't really want to be giving cheap set pieces away against these, because, you know, Rice's delivery or whoever takes them, they are exceptional.
Yeah, and we'll have to be careful with it. I think, particularly in terms of how we're playing as well. I mean, I know obviously we were sort of giving the balls to the centre-backs under the previous manager, but we're doing it a lot more under Slot, and we're also doing it where we're sort of playing flat with the sort of centre-halves either side of the goalie and passing back around the back a lot rather than sort of making passes forward. So there's a lot more opportunity for Arsenal to press us, I think, and sort of catch us cold maybe in some places, and we've got to be careful. People like Gravenberch just doesn't get isolated and then have 2 or 3 lads around them and make like a bad pass, because they are really good at them, and it's a weird one, isn't it? Because it's not. I think when you sort of look at that team, certainly, or the genesis of that Arsenal team, if you like, a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have looked at them and gone, they're going to be really good at set plays. You know, like I'd have looked at them and gone, they're going to play really tidy football, they're going to move it. But he's managed to sort of.
They're a bit gnarly, aren't they?
I was going to say exactly the way I was going to use.
So, yeah.
He's like fused all like the best bits, all the bits that for years you've heard people like Robbie and like on Arsenal fan TV talk about missing from Wenger, but with the sort of good football that they became known for, sort of under the later stages of Wenger. And that's such an effective mix and an effective blend. Like they're not scared to have a fight, this Arsenal team. They're not scared to slog it out.
Yeah, they are. They're not a softie. I used to always accuse Arsenal of being a bit soft. You know, when Bobby Firmino was running rings around them.
Oh yeah, they'll put them down. Yeah,
it's a different Arsenal.
They've got to be the other way now. Though I feel like they're horrible. And they're very negative. I feel like Arteta's took a step further this year, and he's very Jose Mourinho, and that's why the Saliba thing's massive, because he's the pace, the power, the strength, the height at the back. Like they've been very, very back foot this year in countering and stuff.
And also I think it will affect their high line a bit. He got sent off because of the high line, but that was horrendous from Trossard, and you can and he ends up playing. The lad would have been offside, so he's done his job by leaving him there. He gets like, I do wonder whether it's a Kivy or Gabriel, Ben. They're not slouches, Sam, but Saliba's pace is what usually allows them to play that high line, and they are without that. It could be key for Liverpool.
And look who we're likely to have up front. This is the game where you go, please. I mean, I remember when we played there 2 years ago and we had that game, another game where Liverpool got absolutely trod all over by VAR and the officiating, where you had an offside that couldn't be seen because of the angles. Do you remember? We didn't play well in the game. We had a blatant handball not given for us. They got a snide penalty second half to win the game.
Diaz's knee goes.
Yeah, Trent and Diaz got snapped, and I think they got 1 yellow card between them. Yeah. It was a really bad day for us, but we did get shafted. I remember Darwin causing murder in that game. He was just running across. And there was a couple of snide offsides given against us that day where Darwin ran into a space and the defender got confused and the linesman flagged and we were in. But like, I can see, especially with the personnel that's likely to be playing for them, I can see if they do press us, Reid just pinging balls into Salah or dropping balls over the top for Núñez, because they're lacking pace, they're lacking personnel, and it's a big old pitch, the Emirates.
Yeah, it is. We've got a very quick one. Silvio says he's an Arsenal fan tuning in for the show. Says Saka's normally the set piece taker too. That'll be a miss for us. Absolutely, yeah, it is worth mentioning. Yeah. Declan Rice has been good on the other side, but they have been relying on Saka.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do there. Maybe as Zinchenko if he plays, or we'll see. But
is he even left-footed him? I don't even know if he's left-footed. I feel like I'm not sure.
I think he's always in Mo Salah's arse pocket, is where he's where he tends to be. Mo Salah has good memories against Zinchenko in the past. That is for sure. Right then, we are going to take a quick break, after which we are going to speak about the Reds injury update and that kind of stuff. I will leave you with a little teaser. Speaking of Mohamed Salah, Mo Salah, let's go again, has played 15 times for Liverpool against Arsenal, but how many goals has he scored against them for the Reds? Have a little guess. Let us know if you're watching live. You can have your guesses too. We'll be back with the second half of the build-up show after this quick message. See you in about a minute. Welcome back. Yeah, before the break, actually, how many times has Mo Salah scored against Arsenal for Liverpool in his 15 appearances? Josh, in the chat, we've got 8 from Josh and Adam. Mikey said 7. Callum said 10. Scouts Maradona 6. Got a couple of other guesses. Any ideas, guys?
I thought 8 instinctively.
I'll say 10.
Right down the middle, look at that. 9. Mo Salah scored 9 times. Ironically though, and what might be positive for Liverpool, it's 9 but games. So only one of those was a brace. He got 2 in the 3-1 win in 24th of April 2019. That was the one. I think he scores the penalty and he also rinses David Luiz and sends him for the echo. That was at Anfield. Other than that, he scored in separate games twice at the Emirates as well. Once in
missed last year, didn't he?
Yeah, once in a 3-3 draw and then once in a 3-0 win in 21. So yeah, Mo Salah, let's hope he can make that 10 and beyond. He's also got 2 assists as well for good measure against them. Right lads, let's talk about the Reds before we do injury update. The manager confirmed today, and listen, Arsenal got injury updates, so for Liverpool, no Alisson for the Reds, no Diogo Jota, which is probably the biggest significant blow after Alisson, of course. He said no Chiesa, no Elliott, Conor Bradley, they're going to wait and see if he can train at some point tomorrow. So Liverpool aren't without issues either, Sam. Of course, Arsenal played at home in the Champions League on Tuesday. Liverpool played away on Wednesday, so that's a clear advantage for Arsenal. There's a fair few things for the managers to juggle here, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. I think Wednesday, Sunday's okay. Obviously, they played Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, so there's extrapolated over a day less. I think, I mean, obviously, I'd have to look at what Arsenal did Tuesday from Saturday. They had a really tough game with 10 men for 60 minutes of the game.
They weren't great on Tuesday. I watched it.
They were a bit disjointed, and then Arteta was promising fireworks on Sunday, weren't he? But they obviously had an extra day. They're at home. They're not having to travel. We're having to travel to both places. But I think the confidence and momentum is massive for us here. So I think that won't be as much of an issue. In terms of personnel, it would have been nice to, I think, have Jota available. I think Alisson speaks for itself, but Kelleher's fine. Bradley will probably, with having Joe Gomez, you probably need him for Wednesday more than you do Saturday. Elliott's unfortunate, but he's been out for a little while now. Chiesa again, similar. So I think for me, the big one would have been nice to have would have been Jota as an option, or to have Nunes as the option, whichever way you want to look at it. But other than that, I think we're strong from in between the number 9 and the number 1. We're very strong, and that's going to be. I think that's going to be key for us. We'll see, obviously, what happens with them.
Jota's got 7 goals for us against Arsenal. It's the team he likes playing against them. Like he's done well against them in the past. He isn't going to be available. Let's start at the back then. I think actually, to be honest, John, usually this is where we build a team. I think this team picks itself. So I'm just going to read the team out here, and if anyone disagrees, feel free. If anyone in the chat disagrees what this team's going to be, feel free, because I think we can kind of get through this one. It'll be Kelleher in goal. It'll be Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate and Trent. It'll be Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai. It'll be Diaz. It'll be Nunes. It'll be Salah. Does anyone have any?
The only thing I had is I thought we were excellent with Jones instead of McAllister last week against the dynamic midfield, and I love Mache, but I think in some games, like the old joke about him not being quick, there's a reason for that. You know what I mean? He's excellent at what he does, and none of them do anything like Mache does. But I think Curtis has put himself in the conversation now that if you want to put him in Mache or Szoboszlai's position, there's a genuine debate for it. Him only playing 15 minutes on Wednesday puts him in the conversation for me after having a man of the match goal, match winning performance, goal and assist. Could have had another assist last weekend. Does he deserve to start against a dynamic Arsenal team? Maybe, or and there's a conversation where you play Mache, or do you play Mache? Then you might put him further forward. I'm just sort of throwing it out there. Like,
for me, I'll put it to you. I just don't see a way where it happens. I think McAllister plays. I think if Jones was going to play, it would have been for Szoboszlai, who hasn't been in great nick, but the manager clearly likes him. He keeps him on the pitch all the time. He has the energy, he has the legs. I think Curtis was going to play on Wednesday, because I didn't think he was going to play today at the weekend, if I'm honest, John. But I just don't see a world where he's in. I think it's going to be the manager's best team, and we know what he thinks his best team is at this point.
It is, yeah. I think the weird thing with the minute though with us is it's loads of the subs look pre-programmed, don't they? I mean, they tried to make a bit of a fuss about Salah coming off midweek, and it was clear he was like you're coming off, and you're coming off on 60 odd because you're playing at the weekend and we're getting 30 minutes to someone else. So I think it's one of those things where, like, if Jones starts, it'll be a shock in the sense that, as you say, I imagine he would start to Szoboszlai, but at the same time, he's probably coming off on 60 and he'll put McAllister on. But I imagine it'll be McAllister and he'll probably hook him for Jones, kind of thing. My only slight disagreements on the team, and it's not that I think it's wrong, I just think I wouldn't be shocked, is I think there's probably a slight question mark for me over Robbo. Not because I think he's been bad, he seems to be playing Tsimikas as much, and I don't know whether he'll start one of them with it being a big game over the other.
Yeah, I think the fact that Costas played in midweek, maybe could you have looked after Andy Robbo a little bit, maybe they were saving him for this one. The subs kind of give you obviously he took Salah off early doors, so Salah will be fine. The only question mark is your Gakpo Diaz thing. Sam, we've had this, you've been on build-up shows quite a lot this year already, and it feels like that's the question we're asking. It almost feels like half the rest of the team kind of picks itself, and because those two have both been in good nick, it feels like what you said before, big pitch, maybe a team who you're probably not going to be able to control the game against. I think Arsenal probably see more of the ball. Yeah. Your counter-attacking team probably contains Luis Diaz, and he's your out ball. He's, of all of them, he's the one who he actually holds the ball up well. He drops in, he keeps you out. He's the one who can get you out if you're under the cosh a little bit, Luis Diaz. So potentially him, but there is a shout for Gakpo as well.
Yeah, I think Gakpo, I thought he was quite poor against Chelsea, and being honest, I thought he was had a really bad day at the office, but then I thought he was excellent midweek. I thought that Gertrude couldn't handle him at all. Yeah. So it's gonna be like that. Sometimes you can't always be amazing, but I think just Diaz is Slot's guy. I think I just think he does everything that he wants him to do as a winger, and I think he's just above Gakpo in the pecking order. But him starting the 2 games previously for Gakpo, for me, just says Diaz is going to start this game, and I think that will help energy levels as well, because we've just been speaking about Arsenal, about some of their lads have had to go, and they've had the 10 men in there as well. I do think that having someone like Diaz, who's fresh really, and he's full of energy anyway, that can potentially do it for 90 minutes, and then Gakpo can come on in a variety of positions depending on the match state, I think is massive for us as well. I think if you start on Gakpo, you're taking him off because he's played 2 games, whereas I actually think having Gakpo as a weapon to bring on, either up front, on the left, whoever it is goes up there. And I think it's probably the same with Jones or whoever doesn't play in the midfield. We've got 4 lads there now, I think, who are good enough to start. So whoever comes on is going to have an impact on the game. Yeah. To your Robbo point, I just think it's experience. Tsimikas was good the other day, but I think he still made some wild decisions that he probably wouldn't get away with against Arsenal. So I still think Robbo, just for his experience and game know-how, plays.
Yeah, I think I'd agree with that one. So do we think it'll be the team I said?
Yeah, probably. I was just sort of, you said create some arguments.
I'm just thinking Curtis. Maybe there's people. Curtis,
Gakpo,
I think Curtis has definitely got a shout, but I think we'd all agree. Let us know in the comments if you're not watching this live, of course, if you think the manager will do anything different. I'm not saying what he should do. Or having said that, I think I would pick that team. Would you do anything different if it was you than the team I said, John?
No.
You'd go with that, Sam?
No, I'll probably go with the main team, yeah.
There you go. So we're all in agreement. So watch Cody Gakpo, Costas Tsimikas, Curtis Jones all play the weekend, because when 3 people on the Redmen say something, very, very rarely ever comes to fruition. I will be starting to get your score predictions in a moment, gents, and anyone watching live along now, whether you're in the YouTube or in the Discord, let us know your score predictions for the game. Before we do that, let's have a little look at what's going on around the Premier League this weekend. Starts night with Leicester Forest, big game there for both those teams really. City Southampton, it feels like a perfect, when you've had a bit of a tough week, John, like Southampton feels like a really comfortable game if you're Manchester City. They've had I say tough week in terms of schedule. They battered Prague the other day, but they had a difficult game at Wolves the weekend. Ending a Champions League with Southampton at home at 3 o'clock is one that you'd take, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. You wonder whether he's going to maybe slightly rest on the ball a bit. Like I know he started Nunes, didn't he, against Prague and stuff, who's not really had the look in for City, whether he'll start him kind of thing, sort of freshen it up a bit, just to sort of give some of the lads a bit of time off. It's at home. You can't. Is it nearly? This might be wrong, but am I right in saying someone said recently that it's nearly a year they've gone unbeaten in the Premier League? City, they haven't lost or something. It's some mad stat that they're on. Like,
they lost to Arsenal last year. Don't know when that was.
Or maybe it must have been something else then. But
no, they've been trying to claim they haven't been beaten for X amount of games in the Champions League, but they got knocked out on penalties last year. James Pearce was like, "What are you talking about? You got knocked out. You lost."
This is why you don't believe everything you read on the internet.
I can't remember. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. It has been a while.
But they're at their place, and you have a really good record there and stuff. And looking at Southampton, I think the one thing you can say about them positive is that they play nice football between the boxes. But in terms of all the other stuff, if you're looking at like a Leicester or any of the other teams who are in the bottom half who've been to City already, like Fulham and that, like they've all given them a bit of a game and they're a bit gnarly. Yeah. I think Southampton are a bit too nice. So it's one of them games where you look at it and just think that could be a cricket score, and he's taking your Haalands and they're like off on sort of 50 because they're already 3 or 4 up.
I'm just checking now.
Do you think Southampton or Prague's an easier game? Because that's a toss-up.
They're both not.
I actually probably think it's Southampton with the week off is a harder game than
potentially, yeah, but it's you're probably splitting hairs, aren't you?
Yeah.
It has been a bad way. Obviously, Man United they got beat by Man U in the cup final, but in terms of the Premier League, it has been a long time since Manchester City lost the Premier League game. I'm scrolling back here. I think where am I now? I'm up to October last year, and I can't find one.
They lost to Wolves, Arsenal.
Yeah, Arsenal on the 8th of October.
So it's a calendar year, maybe.
Pretty much, yeah, unless I'm missing something here. Aston Villa, sorry.
Oh, yeah, that was
Aston
later
Villa
on
on the 6th of December.
Oh, yeah.
So it's been a long... It's been,
I think they lost 3 last year, didn't they? That was the thing. I think we only lost 4, didn't we? But obviously 2 of them were later on the year.
Basically, they're fantastic, is what we kind of got to, which they tend to be because that's who they are. Elsewhere, then, I will bring the matches back up then after going through there. Villa, the best team in the Champions League at the moment, get Bournemouth. They continue to impress, Sam.
Yeah, both do. To be honest, that's not an easy pick because what Villa, what's the term Klopp used? But he used it for us in terms of the year after we had an injury. You pay the
bill.
You paid the bill. Oh, I was trying to remember that the other day when I talked to the lads about it. Villa are in that period now where I think they're going to pay the bill soon. They're winning, they're playing well, they're going game after game. You saw how tired they were against Man U, and if Man U were any good, they'd have beat them in that game, but they were not very good. And you do wonder with Villa whether like a game against Bournemouth, who are not a bad side at all, who are confident in improving, got a good manager, they might pay the bill. And if they don't start well against Bournemouth and it goes late into the game, that's the wonder with them. And I think that's what we're going to see this year with this new extrapolated Champions League where you don't play home and away against the same team. So are they at home?
Yeah.
So they should win that game, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's an absolute battle because Bournemouth are a decent side.
I suppose Palace Tottenham is one of those ones, like that's a tough place to go for Spurs. You've got Chelsea, Newcastle, West Ham, Man United. They're all games that
sackable race that.
Yeah, they're all games there where you could see the quote unquote favourites or team higher up in the league all dropping points. They just feel like a few banana skins. And good teams that they're playing against. Like if Ten Hag loses that one, and again the pressure mounts on him as well. There's actually some really good games this weekend, John.
There's a lot of stuff there, and I think we're sort of getting to that point in the league season as well, where you can start seeing it in the table. Like there's very clearly for the last few weeks been sort of the top 3, which is what it is. But I think you're now starting to see like the teams who are going to be sort of competing for sort of 4th to 7th, and the rest in mid-table, and there's the people at the bottom. But it's interesting, isn't it? Because no one's done it yet. No one's gone in and gone. It's and obviously we're sort of 18 days or might be a bit less now from away from the next international break. That's often the point where they go, let's do it before Christmas and see where we're at. So it's big matches for these teams. Like some of them are maybe slightly different in that journey. And like United are 3 seasons in. Obviously West Ham are only whatever it is, 9-10 games in kind of thing. So it's hard to call, but I think the real thing with all of it is when you look at some of the teams who've got pressure on them, like Spurs. I feel like Spurs at the minute, if they win a game, it's okay. It's not like they're thrilled, but if they lose a game, all of a sudden it's like it's not like they hate the manager, but they're all just like, can you not just play some defenders?
Yeah. You know what I mean? It'll be fascinating to see how it all pans out. Right then, a couple of score predictions. Jamie thinks 2-2. Scouts Maradona says 2-0 to Liverpool. So does Callum. Lammy Dan is going for 3-0 to Liverpool, with Arsenal getting another red card. Wouldn't rule it out. Yeah. Tom's going for 2-1 to Liverpool as well. Go on, I'm going to go to you first, John. What do you think prediction-wise?
I think 2-1. I think even with the injuries, they've still got a lot of people who can do damage, and I can't. As good as our defence has been, I can't see them not getting a goal potentially. I still think we can outscore them obviously, but I can't see them not getting a goal. So I'll go 2-1 Liverpool.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-0. I think it does cause them problems. I think I think we'll be really defensively on point on Sunday, and I think Slot will be keen to nothing stupid and really make sure we do what we need to do at the back. And I think the lack of defenders will look after itself at the other end. I think a 2-0 win, but a bit like not like the cup last year, but with a bit more control. I think we'll have to fend off a little bit, but I think we'll look mostly in control defensively, a bit like Leipzig for a lot of the game. I think 2-0.
Yeah, I think if they had their full team and we had ours, I think a draw would be a really good result. And people ask in the comments, would you take a draw? I wouldn't take a draw. I think a draw is a fine result. If Liverpool draw, it's not the end of the world. But given the situation that you find Arsenal in, I think you'd be foolish. I think you'd have to gamble the fact that you might lose the point to go and try and win all 3. I think it's given no Saliba again. We'll see where they're at with Saka and like that. No Ødegaard, it looks like. So I think Liverpool are going to win 2-1 as well. I think they might get their normal set piece goal or something. And very rarely did they not score. To be fair, Arsenal, especially at home. But I think I do think the defensive thing, I think Liverpool might exploit that. I expect a big Mo Salah game, actually, especially if it is Zinchenko. You're almost starting 1-0. You feel like sometimes when that, if you get that battle, so fingers crossed, that is what they do. Thanks very much, anyway, to Sam. Thanks to John. Thanks to Adam for producing. Thanks for you guys for watching or listening. Go and check out AnfieldFireworks.com. Use that code LFC10. Get yourselves ready for Bonfire Night, New Year. Any birthdays you've got coming up over the next few weeks, get yourselves down there as well. Go and support those guys. A wonderful local Liverpool business that we need our support. So go and check them out. We'll be back on Sunday for Arsenal versus Liverpool. We've got build-up, we've got a watch-along, we've got all kinds going on. Our schedule was a bit messed up this week due to the live stream that we spoke about at the top of the show. We're back into the swing of things now, so all your regular content on its way here at Redmen TV. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. See you on Sunday.